Coming out, we're really excited to be here. If you read the boilerplate that I put together for the website, this vision came together as what's promised to be a throwback to the beatnik days without the bongos or the clove cigarettes. I'm really happy to be joined by some musicians that I'm happy to call friends, but I also know as brilliant musicians, period. John Madoff, Aaron Bajakian, and Matthias Kunzli, all of whom live and play in New York. I've seen them play, I've written about their music, and I asked them to join me in this adventure, and they were game. So what we're going to do is each play our wares a little bit, but we're going to engage in some genuine improvisation. I'm here to read a little bit from a memoir that I published this year called Please Talk About Me When I'm Gone. And I'm going to read later on from an upcoming novel that I hope will be out later this year. I'm going to step out of the way from time to time and let them play, and they're going to join me as I read, and some other things might happen that we don't even know about yet. So without further ado, thanks to the Tea Lounge for letting us be here, and I hope you guys enjoy it. This is a chapter that's called Please Talk About Me When I'm Gone. The love of art means loss of real love. I didn't say that. Although that's the sort of thing I might say, since I'm the sort who feels obliged to quote the books I've read, and I allow art to remind me how to relate to myself. Some people sometimes choose to make their lives more complicated. Life sometimes decides for them. Sometimes life gets there first. To win, to lose, what for if the world will forget us anyway? I didn't write that. A poet wrote that. I'm no poet. Poets are always looking for things, such as heroes. And who wants to be a hero these days? Who can afford it? The world could be, it might very well already be, full of folks who will ring changes and do their part to shake up the constricting and crazed institutions that keep us chained, bound, and complacent. There are lots of these people, I'm sure, tons of them. But the thing is, most of us are too busy trying to live. It's enough just to survive without seeking to pursue such lofty, such poetic propositions. This is the new poetry. The more things stay the same, the more they change. Here's our art. Haikus of horror in the cities, sonnets of sin and corruption, limericks of deregulation, free verse, free trade, rhymed lines of laissez-faire, and the emboldened ghostwriter death, forever at work on our collective life stories. These days we look for poetry in all the wrong places. Some of us even believe we're gazing more deeply into the murky waters of existence, and all we're actually seeing is our own reflections. And so, I think, a life is not unlike a poem. Too often eager to please, predictable, safe. I think one should therefore feel obliged occasionally to ask some complicated questions, such as, what am I doing to keep things interesting? How can I generate momentum and keep the narrative flowing? Listen, when some of your best friends are people who exist elsewhere, characters in books you've read, musicians you'll never meet, people from the past who died decades, even centuries before you were born, or people you knew intimately who are no longer around, it might be time to ask some complicated questions. Who are you? That is, or should be, the first question, as well as the last question, and it should be asked as often as possible along the way. You see, all men are islands. After all, no one else is inside you when you're born, no one's going with you when you die, and between those first and last breaths, the decisions, actions, and accountability are your own. All yours. And so, you seek solace in yourself. You find friends. You learn to discern redemption through the aimless affairs that comprise the push and pull of everyone's existence. You realize, in short, that you're going through it alone, so you should never go through it alone. You can't run away, and the further you run, the closer you get to yourself, and you're all you've got. If you're fortunate enough to figure this out early on, you find friends, the real ones who exist in your everyday world, and the other ones who've been there all along, the ones you can always turn to, whoever or wherever you happen to be. Please Talk About Me When I'm Gone. That's the title of this memoir. It's also the presumptive title of any memoir. More, it's the unwritten title of any work of art, the desire to have those thoughts and feelings articulated, read, understood, appreciated. More still, it's the often unexpressed message of any individual life. We want to be discussed and loved and celebrated long after we're no longer around. Mostly, we don't want to be quickly or easily forgotten. So when you hear voices or find yourself talking to people you're not sure that can hear you, you should cut yourself some slack. We've all been there, or will be at some point. We've all, on occasion, looked at the clouds and wondered if there was a kingdom beyond the skies, the place some of us are told our dearly departed look down from. Haven't we all taken comfort from a one-way conversation we forgot to be self-conscious about? Aren't we all, at times, unable or unwilling to entirely abandon the idea that someone else is listening? And so, you talk. And maybe someone listens. Anyone might be listening up there, and that's more comfort than anything you could ever find in a church. You talk. Say something. Everything. Say anything you need to say in order to survive. Who knows that on the lower frequencies I speak for you. What he said.